All right, let's go ahead and move on out to our next story. Daniel, what's going on, man?
Okay, so this next story is a little bit of fun, a little bit of positivity in this world, but it's also a little weird. Let's be real. Well, I'll take anything I can get right now, I suppose. So Pope Francis, remember that there's a guy in the center of Italy in his own little dictatorship that with a very nice hat, and he has actually put out this very big, let's call it a document, that's actually quite interesting for people like us. So on his third encyclical Sunday morning, Pope Francis denounced free market capitalism and the, quote, magic theory of trickle-down economics, saying the coronavirus pandemic has once and for all disproven the notion that economic policies that are aimed at benefiting the already rich will benefit low-income people through job creation and investments. Remember, if you're super rich, you're now just a job creator. The 45,000-word document titled Fratelli Tutti, meaning brothers all, or brothers and sisters all. Sounds like a Bernie Sanders sort of phraseology.
Yeah, sounds like it. All right.
Indicated the Pope's belief that the pandemic has shown that a major overhaul of global economic systems is needed, as the crisis is disproportionately affecting poor, including U.S., Brazil, and the U.K., revealed a divide between low-income workers all over the world who have limited access to government aid and professionals who are able to work from home, and caused the most unequal recession in U.S. history. Anyone who thinks that this is the only lesson to be learned was the need to improve what we already had, what we were already doing, or to refine existing systems and regulations is denying reality. Pope Francis said, the fragility of the system in the face of the pandemic has demonstrated that not everything can be resolved by market freedom. The encyclical continued. So he goes on, but I think it's like, at this point in time, I'll take allies anywhere I can get them, even if I'm not sure they're completely an ally with me. Mm-hmm. The fact that he's at least saying more than Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what? I would go as far as to say, as right now, just from reading this, if we balance everything out, Pope Francis he would have earned my vote more readily than Joe Biden. Uh-huh. Because it's like, at least he's like saying this from the point of view of stuff in a way that I agree with. I think it's good that he's been talking about this. It's just like a weird reality when it's like the Pope is like the leftist in the room. Yeah. And that seems to be where we're at. Because if you look at let's be real, let's put mentally make a line in your mind, and you have Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and Pope Francis. Who's the most left leaning? Probably Pope Francis. And
that's really a sad state of affairs for our political environment that we see here in the United States. And, the very fact that the rest, I have to be very clear about this. The rest of the world is aware of what's happening here in this country. They're seeing how our people are right now struggling to make ends meet. They're seeing how there's no social safety nets, there's no UBI, there's no nothing, no Medicare for all, no form of health care to take care of its citizens. And it's just it's just rather interesting to see that other world leaders are calling for real change. And the United States, once again, is stuck in this mindset of, no, we got this. We're going to be leading the way. Everyone follow us. The point is, why follow a country that's not going to take care of its people? And that our problems will once again become the world's problems. I don't know how this will all play out in the long run, but if there's a perfect storm of an economic collapse as well as increased cases of this pandemic that we are dealing with, the United States will have to be a global problem that the rest of the world will have to address.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's actually one of the why it's so powerful that Pope Francis is saying these words. The Catholic Church has been an institution for global colonization, culturally, mentally, what you call it, quite, directly, materially. But it's also changed in power dramatically this last century. For the seat that he sits in, and for the reach that he has to be a voice that is softly trying to turn the tides of colonization to emphasize the good of humanity rather than a system. which is quite the inverse of what Catholicism has really has been, is extremely powerful, especially at these times when we see that there's a lot of governments that would like to go full fascist, full autocratic, full what you call it, republic, no democracy whatsoever. As you said, take allies wherever you can get them, but also I think it really speaks to the times that we're in, that this institution that is roughly 2,000 years old, right? Like, it was year zero that Jesus died.
But it wasn't.
It was like 5 or 7.
It depends on it depends on when you want to call it.
It depends on the lore. Depends on
the lore. That's exactly right.
That's what you accept as canon. But roughly 2K-ish years later, an institution that has been so on such a mission to to rationalize the whole world under a hierarchical worship structure is now saying, guys, kind of calm down with that. It's just ideas. Human beings are really what's important. It's a little like it's the Catholic in me to have to call out the Catholic Church on that. Like, hey, you guys kind of started the other thing, but it's nice that in their own way that mea culpa makes it much more powerful.
Right now, the dictator of Vatican City is making a lot of sense.
There you go.
And
right now,
I just want to point out that the other great level of irony that we're dealing with on this entire topic. Okay, I had a one shot. I feel like I need a one shot. There we go. Okay. Here's the great irony of this entire situation. You remember when Pope Francis was getting picked to begin with, and there was like, oh, what do we pick? And the new Pope, we need, that last guy, oh, he had some issues. We gotta change the face. We gotta change the face of this organization. But it's crazy that the Catholic Church, everything that's been covered, all the kids, how much they definitely enjoyed their time with those priests, all that being involved, all that taken into account, the Catholic Church had the, let's say, decency to put in a guy that they're like, yeah, we really need to rebrand ourselves and actually shift the path the church is moving to a more populist view because we're losing subscribers, and which is more than the Democratic and Republican Party can
CIA,
claim.
Intelligence community, deep state. You guys could have had Bernie Sanders clean up your look.
It's also interesting to note that Holly Horn even mentions that Biden is Catholic too, but even Biden will never. What did the Pope say? Medicare for all? No, we're not doing that here in this country. And also,
for someone asking a question, hey, the guy that's infallible to you that never says anything wrong? Well, he said this.
He said this. What are you going to do? He's going to be like, hey, come on, Jack. You know the thing.
Come on, Jack.
Come on, Jack. But also, Al Griezek says it's refreshing considering the last Pope was part of the youth. That's all we could say here on YouTube because of YouTube censorship.
Let's say that they did some high altitude training.
I wouldn't even go that far. Rewind back the clock to a certain.
Was good with us on that.
Somewhere between the 1930s, 1940s, there was something happening in Germany. So there we go.
He was young back then. And he was part
the
of
older, the Pope that came before Pope Francis. So
that's why they're like, eesh. But then again, if that was the case, like if there's someone, it's like Bush could have been that, Obama to a degree, Trump could be in there. But my point is that America is less aware than a lore-based 2,000-year-old institution that is a dictatorship.
Yeah. So it just once again shows us how far we have fallen in many ways, or how far we have regressed. I mean, it's just depressing to know that we are stuck in this mindset of we here in this country are not taking care of our people, and yet we have other political entities, other countries basically calling out for fundamental change, but yet once again we are not doing anything like that here, and it's depressing. So wow. So with that being